Here we have the producer of this new TV special, Dr. Felicity Aldred, who's going to be directing and filming the following episode. Welcome to our humble home here in Burnie in Tasmania. My name is Jannie Olivier, South Africa's Jannie Olivier. And I'm here to show you one of my specialities. It's called creamy garlic butter Tuscan shrimp. But being creative, I'm actually going to use prawns. The first thing I do is I heat the skillet, and once it is fairly hot, I take a tablespoon of butter and allow it to melt in the skillet. As it melts in the skillet, I think carefully about the next step, and that is the garlic. And you can see I've crushed it very finely here. And all of this has been pre-prepared because, being one of South Africa's best chefs, I am very, very careful about making sure that I prepare all the ingredients beforehand. And you'll notice that I have an assistant. The assistant's actually taking the video at this point in time. And the importance of the assistant, well, to be honest with you, who else is going to clean up after me and wash the dishes? So it's a very important factor to have an assistant. So I always make that a very important part of what I do here. And now you can see, just to give you an idea, I'm allowing the butter to melt completely. The heat is on high, and doesn't seem to be high enough. So I'm going to move it to the back to get a bit more heat on it. And I'll switch the other one off. You need to be very spontaneous in the way you do things, because if you hit a bit of a snag, you have to be ready for what to do next. I'm also going to get from here, and I'll be back in that video shortly, my wooden spoon. I wouldn't dream of cooking anything without it. So here it is, the wooden spoon. And here I am frying the garlic until the fragrance rises to the nose. If you were here, you'd be able to smell it. It is absolutely fragrant and very, very delicious. Now, as I said earlier, although this is actually a shrimp dish, I've decided to change it and make it into a prawn dish. And you actually fry these garlic cubes until they are, for about a minute, I would say, and then you add the shrimps. Now, initially, when Felicity chastised me for using frozen shrimps. However, I decided to do it because I want to add my own touch to everything I do, and so I did use these frozen shrimps, frozen prawns rather, and afterwards she actually complimented me because she said they were much more succulent as a result of being frozen at the moment they hit the pan. So that's what we're doing. We now just need to break them up a little bit. We try and do this without breaking the stove most of the time, but you'll see that it does help because the heat is now starting to melt them and they are starting to come apart. There they go. So in true Jannie Olivier style, I am now making sure that these are nicely browned on either side. And as they become slightly more or less frozen, I break them up, and I now am able, as you can see, I'm now able to fry them individually, because what I need to do is to turn them over after about 2 minutes so that I can do them on both sides. So here we go. We're going to start turning them over now, and by turning them over, they get cooked on both sides, which is always quite a good idea. But because they're still frozen, they are actually very succulent. You're not taking all the juices out of them. which is one of the problems if you don't use frozen prawns. So you can see it's starting to gain some kind of semblance of a delicious dish. I think if you look at this, if you had to come in closer, producer, I wouldn't mind if you came in a bit closer and had a look at this. You can see it's actually looking quite delicious already. Would you agree with me? Give me an answer.
I would indeed. I wouldn't let them get burnt.
No. As you can see, the director's quite important as part of this production because she's overseeing what I do. Why does she oversee me? Because she's directing me and telling me what to do? No, she's trying to pick up some tips herself so that she can start her own food channel. The Jannie Olivier food channel will be launching shortly, and if you want to subscribe to it, please send me an email at cedric@cornerstonec.coza, and I'll be very happy to sign you up. Right, now that I've cooked them for about 2 minutes on either side, I'm going to take them out and put them in this dish because they are more or less now ready to be cooked further at the end of this whole process. And you can pause there and we'll come back afterwards. Oh, you've done it. We've now removed the prawns from the dish and we're now going to add the onions, which we're going to fry in the juice that we've created earlier with the prawns, the butter, the garlic. We're going to fry these onions for a minute or so and then add, after that we'll add the sun-dried tomatoes. So it's important that you don't allow the onions to get burnt. You just want to brown them a little bit and wait until the fragrance of the onions starts to lift from the skillet. Very important. You'll notice that I am already starting to drool. I'm trying not to drool into the dish. That wouldn't be very proper. But I'm now going to add the sun-dried tomatoes, as you can see, from Italy actually. That's why they call it Tuscan. There it is. Adding the sun-dried tomatoes. And I'm going to stir that all in. And I'm also going to add, at this point, a half a glass of wine. Now, I nearly put the red wine in, and that would have been a big mistake. There it is. It's white wine. There it is. I've added the white wine and the onions, and I'm now stirring that all in. And it's starting to form an alcoholic, what do we call it? An alcoholic juice. And as you can see, at the sound of an alcoholic juice, Felicity is starting to drool. So here it is, this Tuscan prawn dish in the making, a masterpiece, let me tell you. Never to be surpassed. This is something that you will really want to tell your great-grandchildren about the day that you first tasted this. Unfortunately, you won't be able to taste it today, but that day will come. You can pause now. The next in the series is to add the cream to the gently simmering dish. And you're going to use basically 1/8 of a cup, or rather 7/8 of a cup of cream. And if you add the cream, and then what you need to do is add salt and pepper to taste. You're going now? You now add the pepper, and I know my wife loves ground pepper. She doesn't like the other stuff, so I'm always very receptive to my wife's way of doing things. It's one of the reasons why I'm still alive. The other thing I add is a little bit of salt. There we go. And now I gently stir. Look at that gentle hand. These sort of gentle touches are very important in this kind of dish. It's the Italian part of my heritage coming out in me. And as you can see, if you bring it up a little closer here, Felicity, you'll just see how that juice is starting to, it's preparing itself for the prawns to be added. Can you see that? How does it smell? Tell the audience how it smells.
Absolutely delicious.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. So now that we've done that, we're going to have another pause so I can just check the recipe. The final few stages of this recipe, we add spinach leaves. Now, this is quite a significant thing for someone like me because I grew up hating spinach. And it's only since I've known Felicity that she's convinced me that I need to change my ways. So here I am, for the very first time, cooking spinach leaves. And I would have, if you had said one day I'll cook a dish with spinach leaves, I would have said never. You must be smoking something. But here it is, spinach leaves wilting in this wonderful sauce that I've made, created from cream and all sorts of things. Really delicious. You'll find out one day when you get to taste it. I'm also going to add a little bit of corn flour because I want to thicken. It must be thickened, the sauce. And if it won't come out, you just bash it on the side. That's how I do it. You've got to be a little bit more assertive when cooking with me, because sometimes things don't work out exactly as they should. So you need to be a bit more aggressive. And I think my English counterpart, Jamie, would agree with me there. So here it is. It's now starting to come to final stage where I add back the prawns. There we go. And now I'm going to take the prawns, which I fried so beautifully earlier, and I'm going to add them back into the mixture and stir it in. There we go. And while stirring them in, I'm going to add the Parmesan cheese, which I'll sprinkle over everywhere. And while I'm doing that, I'm stirring, of course, to make sure that it all mixes in very well. And then the Italian herbs, and finally Parmesan, asparagus. Not asparagus, what is it? Guess. It is parsley. I was just testing you to make sure that you were on the ball there. So we've added the parsley, and now if you come up close, you'll see this is the final masterpiece in its stage of final preparation, and we will give you a report back in the next episode in terms of whether my wife survived the dish. If she didn't, we won't be able to give you the report back because we'll have nobody to record it. Thank you. Over and out. And there we have the final product. And some of our listeners have asked, why would we have a woman in the kitchen anyway? Well, let me explain. This is Australia. There are no servants, and so we have to have someone in the kitchen who's able to do the washing up afterwards. And as a reward, as you can see, I'm giving her some of the final dish. As you can see, she's got a fair share.